Hoo-ah.
Mm-mm.
What do you mean, You're the one looking down over there. I'm going to, hoo-ah. Don't make me Al Pacino you out this MF.
You won't Al Pacino me. Stop.
Al Pacino. Ladies,
You cannot. No, I'm more Al Pacino than you. Okay, like you.
with that haircut,
You're
you're like a 1970s Guidette in Long Island, getting ready to go to the Sunrise Mall to get some friggin' gelato because it's just brand new on the spot. Nobody ever heard of it, and maybe some
I
good
love
old
gelato.
fam. Yeah, but when gelato first hit the thing, this is the award. I don't know if you can see it. Oh my God, here you go.
Would you stop with the award? Jesus Christ. I love
given
Indy.
to us
He knows
by
that.
Indy Left. We love you. To all our fans out there, thank you so much. Fam, I want to apologize right off the bat. By the way, welcome back to the Combo Couch, everyone. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I am Fiorella.
And I'm going to take this down and get us our background. Let me get us a good colored background. Where's our color, fam? We know we got this new background over here. I love it. It's radiant, gradient. There it is. Guys, do us a favor. Help the Combo Couch stomp the mainstream media, the narrative that is, and go ahead and share this video. And guys, remember we have a Rumble as well. And it's very important we start getting people on over to the Rumble because there's a way the certain algorithm works over here at Rockfin. We have been encouraged to do more premium, put content behind a paywall. We don't want to necessarily do that. That's a rule of ours, but we do have the Rumble channel where we'll always be putting up stuff for free. So as we go down the road, we might switch a little bit to premium content on Rockfin. That's only because we cannot make the monetary gains necessary to keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, and the microphones working unless we do certain things. So please do us a favor. If you haven't followed our Rumble, I'm going to go ahead and share the link in the doc, fam. We have 10 people watching right now. We need to get that number up, guys. So let me grab it really quick. I want to say thank you to as well to all our monitors. Jilly Love.
Moderators?
Yeah. Our wrenches, right? Or what do you call them? Is there something else the kids are calling
moderators? Moderators. You said moderator. I don't know what the hell you said, but
what did I say?
Moderators?
Okay. Listen, so ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do today is we're going to go at the very end of the show. We have an interview with Tara Reade. We're going to talk about some FTX stuff. We're going to go to premium only on Rockfin. You can always catch the show for free on Rumble, right? Because YouTube, we can't put certain stuff up. So sometimes we're not going to be on YouTube. We're going to always be on Rumble because they're not censoring right now. So please do us a favor. Click the link to the Rumble. Get that over there. And if you are a premium member, whether you're a premium member of AM Wake Up, a premium member of the Combo Couch, premium member of Slow News Day, any of those friends of ours, Jimmy Dore, any of those people, please, Nico House, go ahead and watch our premium content because that's what's going to really help us out financially. And me and Fiorella, we hate guys asking for money. We really do. It's something that really sucks that we have to do it. But if you do want to leave a donation, you want to send it on over, the address is down below, 10120 Southeastern Avenue, number 228, Henderson, Nevada, 89052. Please consider being a subscriber on Rockfin and watching premium content on Rockfin as we will be moving towards that space. But like we said, there will be no paywall because we will have it up on Rumble. And if we have something premium, we'll release it for free 24 hours later, like we did when we had our medical videos. So that's something that's going on. So please today, guys, if you can, go on over to our Rumble. Fam, you got anything else to say? Allison Morrow said to say hi. I was just on her show. It was supposed to be a half hour.
I know you were on her show.
An hour and 10 minutes because, fam, when people start talking about elections, they want to know the goods now. There are people coming around, people who have found religion, fam. You sent me a tweet today. Somebody who kind of said that we were talking conspiracy theory stuff years ago is now seen the light, has had religion, elections. Wow, fam.
You mean Michael Tracy? Yeah, he owes us an apology in his DMs.
Ooh,
my DMs are open for the apologies from all the people that called us conspiracy theorists on election and on COVID. Just saying, open. They're open.
Wait,
I expect some. I sent you somebody, right? Didn't I send you somebody? I sent you a picture.
Yes, and that said that it was a watcher, it was a subscriber who said they thought we were crazy, they thought we were nonsense. We were saying this stuff a couple years ago, and now they're back and they apologize. And they said the DMs are open.
I love that. Yeah. Like I love that. Like I want more people to see the light. Like it's not, but it's like when people just do it.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's not about our ego. And you've said this to me before. It's not
No.
about them going and kissing our ass that we were right. It's because now they're seeing the light. Sorry, go ahead.
That's genuine people. But what I see happening is the approved stamp of approval gets done, and so then they know they go with where the wind goes, and I don't see that as genuine. So there's a difference between people who are genuine about it and people who are not, and I can tell. So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Fam, couple things to update people on. Tomorrow I'll be on Jason Burmis's show talking about elections. On Wednesday I'll be on Mel K's show, which is a tape show. I'm trying to get in with Sam Tripoli. He's also offered his platform up as well. Hopefully Artizzle will have me on at night talking to you with that hair, and I'd love to do that because election talk right now is pretty much coming out to the fruition, and people are starting to realize that there's a lot more to our elections that they want to learn that they in the previous might have pushed to the back burner are now going, wait a second, fam.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny at this point. It's late, but it's hard to deny at this point. So, fam, I mean, I have to be up really early tomorrow. So, can we get started?
Fam, we can do whatever we want. You are the boss. You know this. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut.
I don't even know where you come up with these.
That was from Orange
metaphors.
Jones. I saw you and him walking in the rain.
So, guys, the big news today is, well, there was a lot of news today, but Kiev, as you all know, had started banning anybody that they didn't accept their chosen ones, right? They said CNN, BBC, Sky News, and a few others were the only ones that were allowed inside Kherson City, which is, according to Western media, has been liberated. According to Russian media, they literally left voluntarily to avoid civilian casualties, a flooding, which would have been caused by a flooding of a dam. They were afraid of a dirty bomb. They wanted to focus on just really keeping their soldiers, civilians, and the weapons. So that's why Russia left. If you look at Western media, they captured Kherson City. And so those are the two different narratives, right? So they were only allowing the certain media in. But what happened is Zelensky didn't want media in that quickly. So all of these mainstream media outlets went in too quickly, and they started taking pictures of the abuse that is being going on people who remain there, right? Can you scroll up? Because I'm going to read that.
Okay.
And the so that's what's going on, and they weren't supposed to be there that quickly. So then what happened is they started denying accreditation to even their Western media folks who they like CNN, BBC, Sky News. They were all denied accreditation, which is unheard of, right? Why would they deny them? These are their people. Well, there's a couple of reasons why that may have happened. Like I just mentioned, they came in too quickly. But the torture, the crimes that have been captured by the West is, I think, one of the reasons, right? Here is, again, what we've talked about for months now on this show. You can see them being tied to the poles, and you can see them, if you scroll down a little, you can see them, people watching, right? These are supposed to be the Russian collaborators. But what is a Russian collaborator? It could be anybody that goes to church that sang a tune that had the word Russia in it. That's literally anybody that has any sort of ties to Russia. The problem is most people that were there left. Most people that were there left because they were obviously pro-Ukrainian. Kherson voted in large numbers to be a part of the Russian Federation. So the people that are there, people have been, a lot of us have been talking like, who are these people? Why are they there? This, like, they're showing images, right, of people cheering and saying, we're so happy they're here. But it's all very, it looks like a set. It looks really kind of like a film set. If you look at the images, and the Western media, of course, has been putting out those images. These images, though, I think are an accident because they were trying to frame them like, oh, this is good. Look, this is what they're doing to the Russian collaborators. This is what the mainstream media frames this at. Oh, like, this is okay. This is what they're doing to these collaborators. So that's one aspect of this. Pam, did you want to say anything?
No, this is something that I'm just kind of looking down to as well. It sucks, right? This is, I mean, it's just terrible. This is something that we feared. This is something I think that when we talk about the politics that, the Russian Federation, Putin, they don't care about the PR. They don't care how it looks, but this stuff sucks. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be frustrated about this on both sides of the aisle. And it just, I don't know if you have the one in there. I didn't check the file. If you have the one with the old Russian soldier in there, they have him blindfolded.
I do.
But these are the images.
Well, I have several.
These are the images that we get to that when I see them, it's like it's just so heartbreaking, and it does make me get mad, right, at the Russian Federation, right? Because you're like, well, why are you going to do this? Why are you going to leave these people out to dry? Haven't you seen this before? This is something that when Mark Sloboda has spoken about, it hasn't been all rosy too as well. So it's just something that I really think sucks, and I hate to see it.
So one of the things and I'll show a video of Dawn breaking this down, because Dawn and I talked about this earlier this morning on RT, and a lot of what we're getting is that these people that are there are actually pro-Ukrainian. So the people that are there that this is being done to are actually pro-Ukrainian, but they're being so ridiculous with any ties to Russia that they're putting people who actually support them in these positions. So which is really ridiculous, and they don't seem to care about that, because the problem with saying Russian ties, as we've talked about it on the show before, Ukraine and Russia are sister nations. I mean, they're so intrinsically involved. People have family members, friends. Like, this is like two nations that have been just a part of each other because of the Soviet Union, right? And then you have these connections. It's just almost impossible. And again, a large portion of the people in Kherson had already felt like they were Russian. So again, a lot of people left. Of course, some people stayed, but reportedly, some of the people that stayed are pro-Ukrainian, and they're also being attacked. So this is like ridiculous. Again, what we're seeing now. The second part of this that I want to show is people were wondering why exactly they started banning mainstream media. This is like crazy, right? So CNN accidentally allowed a Nazi salute on TV. So let's watch this.
Yeah, should we put volume on this too, fam?
Yeah.
All right, I got to mute myself up. Guys, you know what to do. Guys, hit that like button, hit that share button, go over to our Rumble, go over to our Rockfin. We love you. Take a look. This is CNN exposing themselves.
Troops earlier this week. Residents there have been celebrating their long-awaited freedom, many taking to the streets, waving flags and cheering for the soldiers. Troops earlier this week. Residents there have been celebrating their long-awaited freedom, many taking to the streets, waving flags.
Okay, so they had been celebrating their freedom. Their freedom, and they do, I'm not even going to do it. Like, they do the Nazi salute, right? Like, and I don't think these people are so dumb. I'm sorry that they don't realize this, right? Like, I mean, it can happen. It can happen to any news station.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened to RT. I'm just saying.
It can happen to any news station that's trying to produce this narrative that these are just freedom fighters, people who didn't do anything, people minding their own business, and all of a sudden the evil Russians led by Vladimir Thanos Putin came in and just stirred up their whole world. Not the fact that they were arming and funding and infuriating and putting gas on the fire that was the Nazi flame that's been there for so long. And if you do a little digging back to the history, you can understand what Ukraine is. I mean, we talked about, if you look at 2014 alone, this would say, wait a second, maybe this is something I shouldn't be supporting. Maybe the funding of actual Nazis, and we're not talking about like the Nazis that you get, over here in America and all this other stuff and white power. We're talking about actual fighting Nazis. killing people, that are taping people to polls. These are the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. And it didn't take a lot of digging to understand who was there and who we were funding, because we always fund the crazies.
We do. And I think it was Max Blumenthal. He was like, "Oh, he's just stretching his arm. He's just having a nice little stretch." So people are we're analyzing, right? We were all talking about this earlier. There was a tweet that said, "This might be what caused them to start banning media because they don't want them to capture this. They don't want them to capture the war crimes. So now none of this media is allowed in, right? None of this stuff is going to be seen anymore because they were the only ones that were allowed in. But now when they got their accreditation taken away, you're not going to be able to see the torture and the war crimes committed by Ukraine against their own people, because these are Ukrainians, whether they're pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine, they're Ukrainians. So it's crazy, but I do think like it happened too soon. And so Zelensky's kind of planning things, and you'll see the very curated pictures of him with his soldiers. And he's been given some sort of award for literally snorting coke and doing whatever he does, that like being by a green screen. It's a lot. It takes a lot of courage to be the best actor in a war motion picture, and to get that honor from Sean Penn, it really does something to you.
Well, I kind of think that Sean Penn is trying to, like, he's understanding that he might not be able to play Zelensky in the movie, that Ben Stiller might have it because he looks a little bit more like him, especially from the nose. But I mean, who knows? I mean, he's going to try hard. Fam, my question to you is this, on a serious note. You know that saying that, like, I remember this was said during the Iraq war, like when people were dropping bombs, and then I had my conservative friends who were justifying the invasion of Iraq. Well, those people shouldn't have been there. They were told, get the hell out of there, or the United States is coming in. Are there people in this part of Kherson that were known and told, listen, the Russians are pulling out, you got to evacuate right now, the Ukrainians are coming in? Are there some people, just like in the Iraq war, that couldn't leave, that didn't want to leave, behind their houses, their belongings, whatnot, and they stayed behind, and that's what's going on over here? I mean, is there some, because I know we're going to have some people who are going to be saying, who are going to be Russian friendly, who are going to say they should have left. The Russians told them to leave. Go ahead and leave.
Yeah, they should have left. I mean, you're going to have people who chose. You are going to have people who chose not to leave. Yeah, you're going to have, pro-Russian people, but the vast majority of people did leave. And the people that were left are a mix, right? And that's the thing. We don't know all of the specifics, but we do know that there's still a good sector of people leaving. However, when Zelensky, and I don't think I put up the picture, but when Zelensky arrived there and there's like a group of people surrounding him trying to take a picture of him, it's a very small group of people. So I really don't know, because remember, Pasta, this is Kherson City. It's not the entirety of the Kherson region. So that is also a thing. So the vast majority of people left the city, not necessarily the region. So Vanessa Beeley had this tweet up, and I don't know if this is the one you were talking about.
This is the one I was talking about. This is the one that upsets me, and it just made me really upset, and it makes me mad a little bit at the Russian Federation.
Of course.
But, I mean, I think that's when you say that they don't play the PR game. They just do things this is a military decision that we have to understand and accept it. But this is still the stuff that's hard to swallow. And this is something that we've talked to Vanessa Beeley about, on multiple shows, about like, hey man, what about these people left behind?
Yeah. And the people that are stuck in the middle are the ones that suffer the most. And we always say that when it comes to war. I mean, this is why war sucks. It's really shitty that this is happening. And so Vanessa's tweet says, Ukrainian troops have begun rounding up Kherson locals suspected of having collaborated and supported Russian forces. Previously, civilians detained for such crimes, which include even accepting salary from local Russian administration, simply disappeared. So this is that. So again, some of these people are pro-Ukraine, and some of them are not, but some of them are, and it doesn't matter. And there's a video that I did with Don where he's gonna explain more of this stuff. But here's this.
І погрожував ще українському населенню. Підарок.
So they seem to take pleasure in this, right? This is like the gross stuff aspect of it. Please pull up the videos of Russians doing the same thing. I want to see them because people say, "Oh, well, war is bad." These both sides. I want to see the videos of Russians taking these people and torturing them. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't see that, and it's really shitty that this is happening. And I think that that's something that people have valid criticism of the Russian Federation for what about these people? What about these people? I mean, they have told people to evacuate. They did focus on evacuating hundreds of thousands of people, but at the same time, it's you can't get everybody, right? And that's the unfortunate. And now Don did had a chat with me earlier today, and he broke this down pretty well. I'll probably stop it halfway and then we'll discuss and then we'll continue because there's two parts to this. There's what we just saw, the abuse and all of that, and then of course the fact that they banned the accreditation of some people. So let's go ahead and watch some of this and see Don break it down.
Well, these reports that started, these reports of journalists having their work permits taken away, including those from CNN and Sky News, actually started coming after a quite disgruntled statement from the Ukrainian military's leadership. Kiev's top brass claimed that these journalists began working in areas of Kherson that are now occupied by Ukrainian forces against the order of Vladimir Zelensky, that they actually wait until they get the okay from Kiev. And interestingly enough, this news actually comes alongside the accusations from Zelensky himself of hundreds of alleged Russian war crimes, actually. And the Western media has widely reported on these allegations, of course, with a small disclaimer that they haven't been able to verify any of them, given the fact that they haven't been allowed to go to these areas in Kherson where these alleged war crimes even took place. So on top of that, these journalists who are apparently have allegedly had their, or reportedly rather, had their work permits taken away, they were actually working there to try and frame the entrance of Ukrainian forces into Kherson as something that the locals welcomed with open arms. Let's take a look at their coverage.
And as you can see, people are absolutely euphoric. This is what liberation looks like. This is what liberation feels like.
Now, one really has to wonder why CNN gave so much attention to scenes like that and so little to the actual Ukrainian Nazi salutes that somehow found their way onto CNN's coverage of the entry of Ukrainian troops into Kherson. Really something shocking, but perhaps, I mean, it's just easier to make it look like everyone welcomed the Ukrainian military with open arms, because before the Russian military withdrawal, Russian troops took weeks to evacuate civilians from there. So it's very likely that the vast majority of pro-Russian Kherson residents already left.
Right. And we've been seeing also images of reports of...
Can we pause it? Okay, great. Before we get on to the next part, what he said was important, right? The vast majority are likely gone. But also how, if you saw CNN and all of these people, the way they were framing it, right? Oh my God, these people have been liberated. This is what freedom looks like. You saw how they were like poising it. So these people were wanting to go in there to frame everything for Ukraine. The problem is they also aren't going to be allowed to see the war crimes being committed. So there's two things there on that note, because it's like, okay, so we want to be able to have it set up so these people are like happy that they're being liberated, but also we can't allow them to see the torture and the war crimes that are supposedly happening as well. So those are two things that were pointed out. Did you want to say anything before I continue?
No, let's just continue to play the video because it's awesome.
Okay.
Residents already left.
Right. And we've been seeing also images of reports of repression from people in Kherson, of the people that have been accused as being Russian collaborators. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Right. Well, the Ukrainian authorities are calling these repressions basically so-called filtration methods. And this is something that's really that we've come to expect from areas that have been taken, that the Ukrainian military is taking control of, because we've seen it also in areas in Kharkov as well. But the Western media has already published a lot of pictures of basically Kherson citizens facing abuse from pro-Kiev citizens. Citizens facing abuse are accused of being pro-Russian without any sort of trial, and you can see in the pictures that they're tied to poles and just basically facing mockery from pro-Kiev residents there. And like I said, there have been no court trials, and as I said earlier, most of the pro-Russian residents from this area likely already left. So who knows who these people that we're seeing tied to these poles actually are? Many of them may be actually supportive of the Kiev regime. And actually what we've heard from Ukrainian officials is that this is something that doesn't really matter too much to them.
If the law enforcement system fails and does not successfully deal with the traitors, then the military will deal with them. There is no other way. I have talked to the military, and they have said so. They will just shoot them like dogs.
So it's definitely interesting to see how Kiev is basically given a blank check to carry out these extrajudicial military-led punishments of people who haven't been put through any sort of court process. They're allowed to take the work permits away from journalists, Western journalists, and after, of course, they already banned their own domestic opposition media. And at the same time, the Western media still continues to call Ukraine a democracy.
Okay. So again,
Wake up, man.
they are we if the police doesn't take care of them, the military will just shoot them like dogs. I mean, these are statements from the Ukrainian military. And as Don said, if they find any sort of connection to Russia, it doesn't matter if they were pro-Ukrainian. So that is a really shitty situation to be in, because a lot of these people, they may not know, they may not really be aware of all the facts. And it's an unfortunate situation that we see ourselves in, that they see themselves in.
Guys, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button. I put the link to the Rumble going on there. Please, guys, go to the Rumble if you can as well. Tara Reade will be with us shortly today. She is our guest. We have a couple subjects to go over before she gets in here. She'll be talking about the FTX. Fam, what do you got over here? What's this?
So this is Olga Lakunova, is a Ukrainian and former captive, and she said live on Ukraine TV that she thinks the first thing Ukraine should do is kill all Russians, even small children, and calls for an ethnic cleansing to ensure every Russian is wiped out. So these are the things that are being said now on Ukraine media live. So just go ahead.
Вернулися з полону, ви перетиналися із ДНРівцями, із російськими військовими і, на жаль, побували у російських тюрмах, де перетиналися з їхніми працівниками системи ув'язнень або полону, як можна зараз вже говорити. Що ви після того думаєте взагалі про Росію, про росіян, про...
Я думаю, що вони повинні померти усі, навіть маленькі діти. Їх не повинно бути. Це якась дуже довга границя між Фінляндією та Китаєм.
Гостро, але справедливо.
Вернулися з полону, ви перетиналися із ДНРівцями.
Good. Sharp but fair.
Sharp but fair. Sharp but fair. Yeah. The little children.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
what more can you say? What more can you say?
We're making this up, right? They don't have a Nazi problem at all whatsoever. This is just Russian Putin propaganda over here. And then the I think the last link I have for this section is this person, right? So this is in New York, and I want you to see how the US and the West are rehabilitating Nazis, because Remember when the US was punching Nazis and Captain America came in and saved us all, even though that wasn't the truth? Okay. So this person says, Kayla, so I was just kicked out by Doc New York Fest for pointing out their special guest speaker, Dmytro Kozatsky, is a neo-Nazi in the openly Nazi Azov regiment who participated in the attacks on Donbass civilians. Does Doc NYC try to hide his affiliations? Why? So let's watch this person who confronted.
Kozatsky is an open neo-Nazi, a member of the Azov battalion, a neo-Nazi battalion, has posted pictures with Hitler, has posted pictures of swastikas. Why don't you let him know that he has participated in the murder of children in Donbass? Kozatsky is an open neo-Nazi, a member of the Azov battalion, a neo-Nazi battalion, has posted pictures with Hitler, has posted pictures of swastikas. Why don't you let him know that he has participated in the murder of children in Donbass? Kozatsky.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, fam, the thing that really burns my ass is the crowd, the people there going,
Yeah,
"Shut up,
me
dude."
too.
Like, we've seen this shit with Pompeo, we've seen this shit with John Bolton, we've seen this manufacturing of consent of freaking psychopaths, warmongers, murderers. Go ahead and do what they need to do in the American empire, and you know, because once again, this is this form of privilege that people have. This is the privilege I talk about. The way the word privilege is used, it's obviously meant for people to be divisive at each other's throat. But the luxury we have as Americans is that we don't have to worry about bombs being dropped on our head on a regular basis. And this is something right here that these people just manufacture consent from because they listen to this jargon, this bullshit that the Michael Boltons, the Pompeos, and all these other warmongers feed them. So to see them being duped and telling the other people to shut up when they're pointing out the fact that there's neo-Nazis on the stage giving a speech talking about peace and defending off the freaking Russians while he spent 8 to 9 years bombing innocent civilians in the Donbass simply because their native language was Russian. It's disgusting and it sucks. People need to start doing their goddamn homework out there, especially Americans, because right now there's blood on our hands because they're doing this in our name. This is something that Malkovich talked about. They're doing it under our name, and we need to stand up and say enough is enough and stop manufacturing consent.
Props to Kayla, by the way, for having the cojones, the ovaries to do this, because she's literally one person in a crowd of a bunch of zombies, and they're zombies. I mean, they're completely just propagandized, telling her to shut the F up. I mean, just telling her to leave. I mean, it's gross. It's sad because these are your taxpayer dollars. If you don't care about Russians or people in the Donbass, this is your money. They literally just said, hey, by the way, we're not doing the student loan thing. And they're not giving you crap. And then people are cheering about Democrats having one more seat in the Senate. Give me a break. I mean, this is a state of the United States. And as Misty eloquently puts it, right, all the time, we are so fucked. Like, it's just like, there's no other way to describe it. I mean, it is really bad. And as Pasta's absolutely right. It's up to the American people, the people in the United States, to really do something about it. But as he also said, when you're not facing those bombs, when you're not facing that constant, fear of literally losing your life, right? When we're the ones that, our government in our name, not necessarily you as a people, but the government in your name is literally doing this, supplying weapons to fascists in Ukraine, that the people that we just went over, what they're doing, there's no denying that money is going to help people torture others. And that is what I think is really the worst part, because it's not with our consent. We have it's not. But Americans are the only ones that can really force something to happen in their government.
Yep.
So that's that section, fam. We should probably go into the next one.
Yeah, we are. I told Tara Reade 12:45, so we have some time to get through these next sections. Guys, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button. Convo Couch is here. Our Rumble link is there. When Tara comes on, I'm going to switch the Rockfin feed over to premium, And you can always watch it for free on Rumble, of course. And if we do stuff on YouTube, you can always watch it for free there too as well. But we need your help. If you want to help the Combo Couch out, go to Rockfin, sign up for our premium content, and watch our premium content. Like I said, if you can't afford it, you can always watch it on Rumble. We will not put it behind a paywall. We just need some love and some help that way to keep the doors open because things are really tough right now. Even as we start to get a lot of attention and a lot of play, with when it comes coming on with our election work and everything else like that, the mass suppression and the mass demonetization is still there, so it's not stopped. And fam, in this section right here, I don't even know if you know this. I have a little surprise to talk about when it comes to this section because we got quote tweeted by somebody really cool. What's this here, fam?
Okay, so Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov dispelled the lies because the Western media, ABC, Reuters, AP, and AP led with this, right? Said that he was in the hospital facing heart issues. He was very ill, blah, blah, blah. And this is, if you click on the picture, fam, you'll be able to see, like the array. And Inessa, my friend, got this picture. So look, there's Bloomberg, there's ABC News, there's whatever. And they had all of them talking about, Lavrov. And they said it was Indonesian officials, right?
Right.
They said, oh, these Indonesian people, these Indonesian authorities told us this. Okay, well, so Lavrov, the cheeky man, took a picture from a patio where he was at in Bali, showing like, I'm good. And Maria Zaharova, who's the Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman, immediately said that this is fakery. And then he was in a video and he said a couple things. He gave advice to the Western media and told them that they need to basically be better at telling the truth, is what he said. So there he is. Did you have something to say before we go into that?
No, I just thought it was really funny the way they kind of like, listen, fam, here's the new plan. If all else fails, blame it on Indonesia. Just blame it on Indonesia. it's you can't make this shit up. The American media is a joke.
Yeah, and we'll see how RT correspondent Maria Finoshina exposed them because she really, really did. So okay, so this is Sergei Lavrov, right? Let's just watch the video posted by the Combo Couch. So
Okay.
let's just watch the video.
Fam, I'm gonna mute myself up. But if you want to do some explaining, because for people who are just driving the car and listening at home, maybe you can give them a little insight. I'm going to play.
Вот что вы хотели передать тем западным журналистам.
So what we tell Western journalists who are saying you have been hospitalized, also a great amount of messages coming in from Russian citizens saying what happened with Lavrov. What would you tell Western journalists? So
что случилось, что вы западным журналистам пожелали?
I would ask them to be more honest, tell the truth more frequently, and don't limit yourself to a certain perspective, which they promulgate across all questions that have to do with the Russian Federation. And to our citizens, thank you for your support of our foreign policy as decided by the president, and we carry it out multi-directionally.
Но завтра-то у нас двадцатка.
Is it the G20 you're preparing for tomorrow? Of course, there are several addresses tomorrow, and we will adopt a final declaration. The Foreign Affairs Minister of Indonesia and also the chairman of the ministerial process just called me. Talks are concluding now with our experts there, but the minister oversees the process by phone. Thank you very much.
Спасибо вам большое.
Sending regards to all of Indonesia. Okay, so he was basically, it was like an interview, right? And he was basically saying, hey, like, no, the Western media needs to pay more attention to another perspective, especially in regard to Russia and the Russian Federation, that he's here for the G20 and he's prepping. He's been on some phone calls, and that's that. And the G20 is a big deal. Why? Well, Vladimir Putin isn't in attendance, right? He's not going. Sent Lavrov instead. And Xi and Biden have already come face to face. So that's a whole situation. I have that later on.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah, he's over in Indonesia now. So yeah, it's so funny that they would put that stuff out there. Isn't it great that the freaking Russian foreign minister is schooling Western journalists? Like, guys, you really need to fact check your shit here and stuff like that. It's crazy. And the surprise I have is right over here, fam, because there are some people out there who kind of tweeted shit. Our good friend Scott Horton, fam. I don't know if you know this. He's a libertarian, and I have, I'm a libertarian guy, I'm a civil liberties guy, just like Scott Horton, who's whatnot. I didn't agree with him too, as well, as far as he thought that, maybe the Russian Federation shouldn't have gone into Ukraine. We disagreed, but that's who Scott Horton is. And Scott Horton says, man, sorry for our team, that horseshit earlier, should have known. And he used the Convo Couches video to go out and retweet. So thank you very much, Mr. Scott Horton. Fam, you ready to roll this video? Or do you got anything to say before we play this?
Yeah, so this is RT correspondent Maria Finoshina. She's in Bali right now covering the summit. And so she was basically talking about the arrival, because today everybody just arrived and everybody's just getting set up, all the delegations and stuff. So she noticed that the AP room is right next to, was right in a certain, they had like a certain section where they were all at. And so she goes in there to ask them, hey, where can I find your source? Like your source, because it's not like this is like a top secret, like I have to protect my source situation. This is like Lavrov is not in the hospital. Yeah. Like this isn't like, like, okay, can you tell me where you got this? Because obviously Lavrov is fine. So she goes in there and look at how they treat her and what they tell her. And so you'll see.
Так, ребят, я не шутила, я действительно иду выяснять. Мы здесь, журналисты, в пресс-центре сидим вместе, и по счастливой случайности кабинка AP буквально next door от Russia Today. Поэтому сейчас зайду к ним и спрошу, что за источники они использовали.
So she's going to ask them right now.
AP. Hey guys, sorry to disturb you. AP was the first to report about Lavrov hospitalized. Can anyone comment on what kind of sources did
Can you make it louder, Pasta?
Sorry? It's in the story. It's in the story. The names?
Where are you from? Who is this?
From I'm your colleague. Which story are?
What? From what agency? From what agency?
Could you please, where can I find this story? Sorry, I don't want to disturb you.
Okay. Could you leave, please?
Yeah, could leave, please. That's what we expected.
So she's in there, hey, where can I find the sources from your story? And they keep asking her, what agency are you from? What publication are you from? And she says, I'm your colleague. And then she's like, look, I don't want to disturb you. I just want to know. And initially they're like, oh, the sources are in the article. They're not. And then she's like, yeah, I don't want to disturb you. So can you just let me know where it is? And they say, can you leave, please? And then she says, okay, as expected. Mm-hmm. So they refused to answer. So they're treating her like very suspiciously, but it's like, why? You're the ones that put out a story that's obviously false. The guy sent a picture smiling and with his little like t-shirt and shorts in a patio. Like, he's clearly fine. Why would they make this up? They talk about Putin all the time. They make things up about Putin being sick and all of this stuff all the time. So it's no surprise, but the issue that I have with this whole thing is that they lie all the time and they never are held accountable. There is no retraction. There's no, oopsies, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. They literally lie all the time. And yet we get called propagandists, misinformation pushers, conspiracy theorists. We get censored for misinformation all the time. Oh, they are the ones that lie. It is the most frustrating thing in the world. I can catch them in a million lies and it doesn't matter because they, of course, are the government's propaganda. They're the government's propaganda, but RT, of course, is Russia state affiliated media. So we're the propagandists. It's really just the most obnoxious thing to see.
Fam, if I ever work for RT, I'm going to say the behavior that she was very, very nice. I'm going to abuse and embarrass people like that. I'm going to be like, no. You printed it out, said Lavrov was sick. Where's your source? Hey, pal, do you like peddling CIA propaganda? How do you feel? I'm going to get in their face, and I'm going to make them feel like a donkey. So that's that, fam. Let's get to this next section because we have enough time to get fixed. It's a small section. Anything else to say about that, or no? You good? Great work, by the way. Thank you, Scott Horton, for recognizing the convo couch with your little stuff over there.
Yeah.
All right. So this here, I think, is where's the next one right here? No, hold on. I believe this is it right here. Breaking news, fam. You got more breaking?
Yeah.
Get more breaking.
Right. So this was insane today. Okay. This was like, there's so much to this. We're only going to talk about a little bit of it because it gets deep into who did it, right? So, okay, so the Turkish Interior Minister, right, says we know where the terrorist attack in Istanbul was coordinated from. We do not accept condolences from the U.S. Embassy. So he didn't say the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. State Department, the United States is involved, but what he's referring to is Marie Jean-Pierre. She basically said the U.S. sends condolences. Blinken said the same thing. He's saying we don't need your condolences. We know where this came from. Being coy, but in other words, suggesting that the United States is involved. And when Karine Jean-Pierre said that, it really, I guess, must have upset them. Now, we were having this discussion earlier as journalists, like what exactly does this mean? What exactly, is this about? Well, obviously they think that it's the Kurds, but they also think that the Kurds were involved with somebody from the United States is what he's alleging. Now,
yeah. Well, the thing is, fam, is I just want to say that at the end of the day, if you start tracking down these roots to these groups, they're going to lead back to American and CIA money.
Exactly.
It's almost hard to avoid this and stuff because we've been funding the craziest groups. And here's the thing. Just because you want them to do something and you fund them and then you want them to switch and stop, that doesn't mean they're going to stop. You know what I'm saying? Once you've inflamed the madman, once you've given him the needs and the weapons and everything he needs to do to carry out his goal, and even if you change that stated goal, doesn't mean that they're going to change. And at the end of the day, United States, especially the CIA, is guilty of funding all these different groups. So it doesn't surprise me that Turkey's going to come back and be like, you don't think we don't know what game you're playing over here, buddy? We don't want your condolences. Shove them where the sun don't shine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so here's the video. Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu on the attack on Istanbul. Basically what I just said, we know how this event was coordinated. We know where this is coordinated from. We know the message given to us. We do not accept the condolences of the American ambassador. We reject them. So let's hear everything he said.
Fam, I'm going to keep it low. I'm going to keep myself muted, but if you can do the same thing and do a little reading, it would help.
Okay. We know how this event was coordinated. We know where this is coordinated from. We know the message given to us. I will emphasize again, we do not accept the condolences of the American ambassador. We reject them. It's over. We should discuss our alliance with the state that feeds Boers and other terrorist zones from the Senate's funds. And thus, he is trying to disturb the peace in Turkey. Everything is very clear. We are not treacherous to anyone. But I want to say that we no longer have tolerance for this treacherous act. The operation continues, of course, with a successful operation. The terrorists were caught, and if we hadn't caught them, they would have hidden in Greece today. They would have been hidden in Greece today. So, another thing, they caught the woman. There's a woman that supposedly was caught, and it's a woman that detonated this bomb, right? And Turkey considers this an act of terror. So those were some fighting words.
Yeah,
Costa. I don't know if you want to give any
let me
more
just say this much, that here's the thing too, the United States does always. They might be aligned with the government that's there, but they'll always let that government know, and they'll do this by funding the opposition groups that at any time they're their daddy. The United States, the West, is the one who's buttering your bread. So at times they'll fund other groups that are opposition to the government they're friendly with, just to let that government understand that they better stay in line. You know what I'm saying? I think there was that old saying, it's very bad to be United States enemy. It's even worse to be their ally of sorts.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where people have to understand that even though if it's a friendly government that's aligned with us, we'll still fund that opposition there and keep them around just so that government knows, don't step out of line. We'll always fund your opposition. That's how evil and diabolical the State Department is, the CIA is, the deep state is. That's what it's all about. And then guess what they're doing it? They're doing it on our dime, our money, our tax money. This has been going on for far too long. And people need to pull the rug underneath this and stuff and bring these people. They're misrepresenting us in the worst way possible. When 9/11 hit, whether it was an inside job or not, or whatever you think, I don't give a damn. There was this form of like, well, we've been pushing it too long. Our foreign policy, we've been messing around in these countries. Pretty soon, fam, chickens is coming home to roost. Well, this stuff's still going on. It's still going on a high level, ladies and gentlemen. When are the chickens going to come home to roost? When are we going to pay the price for what the CIA and the FBI does overseas? Think about it. And it can't be reformed. So don't think that if you're a conservative that you just need to get your management in and that it's necessary. No, it needs to be abolished. And people who try to abolish it, ask JFK. He's got a hole through his head. That shows you the power of these people. And we need to bring these people to light.
Right. And so the thing with Turkey is, and this is why I always talk to Vanessa Beeley, it's just there's a lot going on there as well, because Erdogan is, Erdogan. But the Turkey has been the neutral zone, right? Between Russia and the West. So that is something there. The West is they talk about Russia being alienated. The West is alienating themselves from literally everybody else that's not NATO.
I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a message for Turkey being fair on certain situations. I'm not going to say it's fair across the board, but if they did something that's favorable to Russia because they thought it was a fair decision and the West didn't like it, I wouldn't be surprised if they sent a message to say, hey, Erdogan, don't get it too out of line. And that's why you see Turkey coming back like, hey, we don't want your phony condolences. We know where this came from. And you're no longer going to tell us what we can and cannot do. Remember,
it almost reminded me by I was going to say, it almost reminded me of an Italian mobster movie. Fam, we know. We got it. We know.
Fam,
bada bing.
Keep
bada
your
bing.
Close. And keep your enemies closer. Go ahead. What do we got here?
So, of course, the G20 summit is what's on everybody's mind, right? So, Xi and Biden had a meeting. Now, the entire time, a lot of the delegations in the EU were saying, we need to show Russia. We need to ignore Russia. You should all walk out. This has been like the sentiment, right? But there was a meeting between Joe Biden and Chinese leader Xi, and they obviously China had and the relationships with the United States have deteriorated since Nancy Pelosi's visit in defiance of China, and the United States has, of course, committed to arming Taiwan, and they said that we need to arm Taiwan so we don't repeat the same mistake of Ukraine. So it doesn't go to war. We need to arm them first so we can avoid war. That's literally what what's his name, Milley said.
Mark Milley. We got to give them weapons of war so they can't that kill each other, so we can stop them from killing each other. Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
So
look at that picture, fam. Look what is Joe Biden saying right here? Listen, Egg Foo Young, I got something to say to you that's a bunch of malarkey. And Xi going like, really? Look at this guy. I'm talking to a white-haired zombie. I mean, that says a lot of things there.
Okay, so Xi said, I just want to point out what Xi said during this meeting. He said, a statesman should think about and know where to lead his country. He should also think about and know how to get along with other countries and the wider world. Kind of say, you don't do that. So,
He's
this
translating
is the first meeting.
You should play nice in the sandbox, but you don't. Go ahead.
This was the first meeting that they had. The last meeting they had was in none other than the WEF forum in Davos in 2017. Okay. So since then, they haven't had a meeting. And Biden told Xi that the U.S. intends to continue to compete vigorously with China, but does not intend to veer into conflict, and that they must work together because this is what the international community expects. He raised concerns, of course, about human rights in China.
Oh, Jesus.
And yeah,
They
the
gotta
U.S.
get
needs
they
to
gotta
raise
get the
concerns.
marketing and the propaganda right. They got to throw that out there. That don't worry about it. Joe Biden, he looked Xi Jinping in the eyes and said, "I don't like what you're doing to the Uyghurs."
Right. And then he also objected to Beijing's coercive and increasingly aggressive actions against Taiwan, and talked about China's non-market economic practices, the issue of wrongfully detained Americans, and condemned North Korea, and repeated his ironclad commitment to defend allies in the Indo-Pacific. And Biden, of course, also brought up the Ukraine conflict, and that Russia and saying that it had made irresponsible threats to use atomic weapons, which is false. And
Dude, how did they
this is
even
like
if Joe Biden has to repeat this shit, how could he say it with a straight face? The country that has almost 1,000 bases all over the globe and drops more bombs and kills more civilians, has bigger percentage of its population locked up than any other country. They want to be the ones who are virtuous and tell other countries not to commit human rights, you know what I'm saying, grievances. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's like, how do we say this shit with a straight face? Who believes this stuff, fam?
Yeah, so obviously China also said we're going to keep doing our thing, and China is not going to be okay with the United States continuing to push on Taiwan, and the United States has committed to continuing to arm Taiwan. So that's going to be an area of contention. And the last thing I want to mention about the G20, because it hasn't really technically super started, Rishi Sunak, the new prime minister of the UK, the guy who is very closely tied to the
WEF,
the WEF, the
CBCs.
Yeah, just digital enslavement, essentially. So he's the guy, right? And he called out Putin for not attending the G20 summit, but a few months ago he wanted Putin to be banned from attending the G20 summit. So I just wanted to point that out. Like, he was like, he should have showed his face to his peers, blah blah blah. But but then he wanted him to be banned months ago. And he also said, we will not let our economic future be held hostage by the actions of a rogue state, nor will our allies. Instead, we will stand with Ukraine and we will work to deliver on each element at this 5-point plan. So
all right.
Again, this is where the EU is. This is where the UK is. They want to destroy Russia. I don't see, and this is where I criticize Russia. Like, they're not gonna be logical like you guys. They're just never like that.
I know where the Democratic Party gets their playbook from. It's the State Department and the Empire. They wag their finger at other people when they're committing the atrocities. I mean, it's just disgusting at this point. We're going to stand with our allies again. Oh, shut up. You guys have 1,000 military bases. You drop more bombs on people than any other country in the history of history. And then you want to sit there and virtue signal like you're the good ones and you're one of the ones upholding decency and human rights. Dude, it's like nauseous at this point. And they still go on with the bullshit. Who believes in this stuff? I guess there's so many Americans that are just consumed that don't understand what's going on, because that was just complete nauseousness, fam. I had enough of this. I want to talk about other scandals and the other ways.
So foreign policy. Well, foreign policy is involved in this, and Tara will break down how. So we have a very special guest here, a good friend of ours, Tara Reade is here.
Tara.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Tara. I know Americans always say my name Tara, but it's Tara. And you're not
Tara.
even Envy.
I know.
And now you're Russian, kind of, sort of, right? Because you're Moscow.
Kind of. I'm trying to get there with the alphabet.
Yeah. How far have you gotten?
Like 3/4 of the alphabet. But I'm also learning words, but I just want to learn it well. You know what I mean? So it's like,
okay.
Yeah.
She sent me a text today in Russian, Tara. like literally, like back. I'm like, what the hell is this? She's starting to text me back in Russian now.
There
So
you
now
have
it's like I gotta go break out the whatever you call it, the decoder or the translator now. So
I'm
it's
I'm
Yeah.
gonna get her the T-shirt. Who's your Vladdy?
Stop.
okay,
I
guys.
would love that T-shirt.
I know.
By the way, maybe this is a conversation for after hours, but yes, that's a great. That would be a
Like
great.
I know we got to get the T-shirt and get that all going. But yeah, there are some other scandals, huh?
Yes.
Costa.
There are, and there's a lot of things to talk about. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do real quickly is I want you to go over to Rumble. If you're not a Rockfin premium subscriber, go over to Rumble or go over to YouTube. I want you to get used to going over to Rumble because sometimes we won't have the ability or the luxury of going over to YouTube because it might be a subject, I don't know, like elections or COVID that we can't talk about on YouTube, so we have to 86 it all together. But like we talked about, the algorithm on Rockfin is so that you watch premium content. We don't like to put anything behind a paywall, and we're not going to do that. So Rumble will be our free speech platform as well, and you can go over to Rumble. What I'm going to do right now is really quickly, I'm going to switch the Convo Couch Rockfin over to premium only if I can. Let me see if I can do this really quickly, but give me 2 seconds. I don't know how you do this. I was told you could do this. I don't know how. Let me see 2 seconds, but we want you to go over to Rumble. What's going on is that we have to now do, oh my Lord, I don't know how to do this. I'm lost.
Maybe.
Let me see if I can go really quickly and go to Content Manager. Okay, so we're running live. Okay, here we are. So now what I'm going to do is, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over to, we're going to only go premium on Rockfin. So if you're not a premium member and you want to watch it for free, go over to the Rumble. Jilly, if you can, you and Lucky, if you guys can put the link to the Rumble in the Rockfin chat, that would be great. We're going over to premium for Rockfin only in 3, 2, 1. We love you guys. Changes are saved. We are back to being live, and we are here. So do us a favor, please. Let me make sure they're there. Okay. We're on premium only on Rockfin. So we're going to lose some people over there. But if you have the chance and you want to go over and support the Convo Couch at Rockfin is the way to do it. And we'll be going from Rumble if you got to go get it for free. So we have a lot of people on Rumble.
Where is it on Rumble? I can't even find us on Rumble.
You have to, the Convo Couch, one word. And I'm going to share the link right now.
Tag me.
I see.
How do we tag you?
You just put on Twitter if you're going to share it on Twitter.
I tagged you.
Yeah, I shared.
already did.
Okay, cool. We're good. We're all shared and good and ready to rumble on
Ready to rumble on Rumble.
Ready to rumble on Rumble. So right now you're premium watching over there, and we have a crazy situation. Tara Reade's with us, and Tara
Reade.
Tara. Yeah, I'm in New York. Tara. No, it's Tara.
No, Tara is with the E. Tara is Tara, but it's Irish. So in Ireland they pronounce it Tara, and in England and everywhere else, Americans tend to say Tara. I think because of the film.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every Tara I've met is Tara is Tara. It's an American thing.
It is an American thing.
So listen, ladies.
But anyway,
might have to break away a little bit and go to work because she has another place to go to. We will read the super rates and the Rumble rants at the very end. Now, I was really excited to have you on the show, Tara, to talk about this, because when I saw this information and I saw some of your tweets, it just reminded me of the first article I read that you wrote for RT, when I was like, holy cow, look at this here. Tara really has got a great point of view when it comes to a lot of things. I think a lot of people were overshadowed by your name and where you'd come from and your situation with Joe Biden, but you're a really talented writer, researcher, and you have an amazing point of view. So we're going to talk about this FTX stuff because this stuff is crazy. We were talking yesterday. The octopus tentacles from this whole situation is crazy. It's if you're looking at it from a story point of view, this is the gift that keeps on giving. This is a comic book. Keep on giving. So why don't you give us your just overall macro assessment of what this FTX scandal is, and then we'll start peeling into it and going down the rabbit holes. And ladies and gentlemen, wow, if you haven't dove into this yet, this is just great. I don't know if it's great. It's kind of sad of what they did, but just give us your whole point and your opinion on the macro of what this FTX scandal is all about.
Well, you remember the scandal of 2008 and all the, financial malfeasance that happened during that time. This is like 2.0. This is reminiscent, but it's bigger because it includes government actors and also, the Democratic Party and possibly colluding, for this proxy war against Russia via Ukraine. So funding for Ukrainian weapons was coming through NFTs. So let me start with this. So let me start with layperson language. First of all, if you go on the crypto space, it can sound really hard to decipher unless you're like really, into that space. But in a nutshell, it's basically this person went ahead and the CEO of this, Reade is his last name, and Sam Reade. And he basically is only 30 years old. He's now in the Bahamas. I just got word that he is under house arrest. They're investigating him for criminal activity. He's basically taken off with $2 billion of customers' money. It's gone. It's disappeared. Not just customers, but other like Bitcoin operators. And from what I gathered listening to a lot of the crypto of what was going on, he basically, without any kind of real product or real backing of any kind, he basically got people to give him millions of dollars. He took that money, he donated close to $47 million to Democrats and most recently the midterm race. Overall, I think it was $100 million over a period of time. That'll all come out. Some super PACs that included like a GOTV voting kind of thing. And I think there's an article, if you can, because I don't remember all the names of the super PACs, but they're really shady. There was an article that just came out that one of them is based out of Silicon Valley and is very secretive, and it was being funded. A Biden administration official was directly getting involved with all of this. And of course, Joe Biden's campaign and Democrats were getting, hundreds of millions of dollars, all total. But most recently in the midterm race, 47 million. And basically the money would go in a circle. So thus money laundering is why they're looking into it. So I would imagine we'd see more on mainstream media, except this. Right now, there's $50 billion that, the Democrats want to pass, or Joe Biden's administration wants to pass, to get to Ukraine for aid and more weapons coming in January. They don't need a scandal. What really caught me about this story, though, about the Sam Reade, is that his connections. His mother was a lawyer for Hillary Clinton. Both his parents are Stanford professors. He's very connected. You've seen him, and I'm sure you've seen the pictures if you've been online and seen some of the social media, pictured with Bill Gates and with Bill Clinton. He has connections to all of these people, this very young person. He funneled some of his money when it started going south quickly to his girlfriend's company. So that's being looked at. And basically, it looks like fraud of some kind. So again, it violated the trust of a lot of people. He committed, it looks like, a huge money laundering kind of operation that includes the highest level of the government, Democrats, and of course, this proxy war. So it is really something to watch. And I'd encourage people to go to spaces and listen to some of the, the conversation. I asked a question of the former White House staff for Trump. He was there, Milley, and he didn't know who I was. He said he wasn't familiar with my story. So I just gave him a brief outline and just said, hey, is there going to be an investigation? Is this money laundering? How did this mechanism work? And is this going to, is there going to be an investigation into Biden administration and all of that? He didn't really answer the question, but it got it out there in the space. And several hundred people were listening. And that's what we need to keep pushing. And we need to push our media outlets because so that it's, getting out there. When I posted my views on it, that I think it's money laundering and I think Ukraine's involved in all of that, I immediately got chased by troll farms. So that tells me I hit a nerve, right? Whenever they start descending upon us like that, and they call you a Republican and they do all that. This isn't a partisan issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. So anyway, that's kind of the long and short of it. Don't be put off by the crypto techno language. He basically shorted people and was committing fraud. Yes. And he's gotten away with $2 billion. But what I'm curious about is who was able to get their money back before it tanked.
Exactly.
And why did this happen after the midterms? Like within days after the midterms? How did they hold that bubble together if it was ready to burst?
Exactly. There's some things I want to point out too as well. As you can see, at least $1 billion of client funds missing at failed crypto firm FTX, sources say. Now, now let's break this down, Tara, because the thing I immediately said to you was like, Tara, I think this is the gateway. This is the excuse. This is going to be the manufacturing of consent for more regulations on crypto. They hired these 81,000 IRS employees, in my personal opinion, is because they want to start going after the crypto money that they understand that they haven't been able to tax. And therefore, they're going to go after these exchanges and start looking at them. But even Kevin O'Leary, who people are questioning right now, who was one of the spokesperson along with Tom Brady, and then naming a stadium in Miami, FTX, which for me put my spidey sense up and go, wait a second. If the mainstream media is advertising this type of crypto, this is the crypto you don't want to go through it with, because they don't like crypto and they're moving you into a certain direction. Okay. But I think what you pointed out that's really important, because even though I think this is going to be the avenue for them to regulate crypto more and come after people who make crypto, you said to me, but yeah, Pasta, we can't ignore the scandal here. We can't ignore the corruption. We got to look at this. And there's something that you pointed out that I'm looking for too as well. Who was told early to get their money out while all these other people were just simply locked out of their accounts and all their money gone.
Right. Exactly. Now they're blaming it. If you look at some of the initial reporting, they're blaming it on a hack. And now that's ending up to be a false narrative, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to duck and cover. And some of the top people in that company were trying to escape to another country. And I don't know if they've been successful or not, but he is not. He is from what I understand, from the space that I was in, the crypto space with some of the CEOs talking, he is under house arrest in the Bahamas. And he has like a multi-million-dollar home. That
it's for sale, by the way, right now. They put it up for sale. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, it's up for sale. It's $39,500,000 if anybody's interested.
Jesus Christ.
If anyone wants it. If you're locked out of your crypto account, I guess you can't pay for it.
Well, it depends on what exchange you use. And that's something also to fam, I'm going to go asking crazy questions. So anytime
one thing, Pasta, I wanted to add. The World Economic Forum. Okay, this is really interesting. They had a whole big ad about FTX and raving about them, right? They've scrubbed it from their website. But people
really?
Oh yeah. Guess what I have, Tara?
Do you have it?
Let me see. Yeah, I believe I took pictures of it yesterday because I was like,
if not, it should be on the Wayback Machine. If not,
I got it. I got this. So check this out. Let me put this up. This is what Tara's alluding to, because yesterday when we were done talking, I immediately went to look at this stuff and I said, let me take a look. So let me show you the first part. So you just type in, World Economic Forum, FTX, and this is what you get up on their screen right here. So this is it right here. So I typed in FTX, World Economic Forum. You can see it right here. This is in the Google search right here. Then I started going, I said, well, let me click on the button. And you click on the button and you get this instead. You're going to love this, fam. Boom. Sorry, we can't find that page you're looking for. This is the World Economic Forum. Make sure you take your Klaus Schwab shots and buy your book, Stakeholder Capitalism, as Klaus wants to eugenicist the whole planet. But yes, it's right there. They promoted FTX, and this is a reason why the spidey senses went up. Another one of those companies is crypto.com. Crypto.com is advertised in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championships. That's owned by Disney, ESPN. And they're not going to advertise that unless they have their grubby little meat hooks on it, like they had FTX.
Yeah. And they started tanking, I think, yesterday because people were saying dump it because there's some sort of collusion between crypto and FTX as well. And Alameda is the company that Sam Fried's girlfriend owns. So that's under investigation because he funneled, I think it was 400 million? I don't want to get the amount wrong, but several $1 million, a lot, over a couple days before it tanked over to her company. So you have all kinds of and if you don't understand crypto, all of this could pass you by. But I really want people to pay attention to the fact that this person donated and had so many ties to the Democratic Party and to, I think, at least 2 think tanks. One was a GOTV, the Get Out the Vote. Another one, very kind of nefarious. I think the Wall Street, who was it? But there's another article being done today about it, the Stealth one. It's just really creepy. And also the fact that the Ukrainian officials have this particular, and they were actually they were donating for weapons as well as aid to Ukraine using FTX. Where's that money? Who has it? All of this needs to be investigated. Of course, we don't even know where the aid money that the U.S. and NATO sends to Ukraine is. And And Fee, you've gone over this many times. Ukraine has always been known as the most corrupt country in the world, but I think U.S. is topping it. What do you think?
I think it's I don't know. I think the US is the reason Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries, right? Like it's just that they made it that way. My question is, Tara, how are we going to get any justice in this? Because this is the United States government involved. So they always will find a way to wash their hands off of this, to, say, oh, some hackers did it, we had no idea, blah, blah, blah. And this is something that I think is largely being talked about on the right now, and on, more of the alternative, independent libertarian sectors. The left is not talking about this. They're looking at it like, oh, you're dumb if you invested in crypto. But that's the thing. Like, it's not about that. It's about the act and who it involves and the very key people it involves. Like, how far does this rabbit hole go? And do you think we're going to get any justice from this?
Well, and I think there's a chance only because some crypto companies lost money and there's some whistleblowers. So you're hearing things in the space. Like if you go, I would encourage people to go into those spaces and listen. And I know sometimes it gets technical and you're listening to a bunch of nerds to a point, right? Whatever. Yeah. But once you get through all the jargon, the gist of it is some people lost a lot of money and lost a lot of trust because this company basically didn't have collateral, not even collateral, much less a product, and was getting millions of dollars. They had to use influence and power to do that. So there's going to be, I'm hopeful, Fee, maybe I'm over optimistic, but I think some whistleblowers are going to come out of this. And I think this is a mechanism for us to look at the money laundering in the proxy war against Russia in Ukraine. That's what I'm hoping.
Let me say this much, fam. And I'm going to, and I wonder, I think that there will be a little form of justice like the Bernie Madoff situation because he robbed from rich people. And that's the thing. And more rich people that come out, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, that's the thing that we have to find out. Tara said it in the beginning of her segment. We have to figure out who got their money out quickly and whatnot. I don't know. Kevin O'Leary, if you don't know who Kevin O'Leary is, he's one of the Shark Tank guys. He's Mr. Wonderful, the bald guy. Well, he was one of the spokespersons for FTX back last year, and they paid him in crypto. And now he's complaining and crying that he got beat on this whole situation. Tom Brady, tons of commercials during the Super Bowl and all this other thing. FTX, he's pushing for it. They said he took a dive, but we need to figure out who got their money out and who got stuck, holding an empty paper bag as they were locked out of their account. But at the end of the day, I still think there's a lot more questions that will never be answered. And I'm sure that Taro would probably agree that this situation is a little Epstein-ish, okay? Where did he get his money from? Like, it's obvious to me he got it from the people who create the money because he also had some dealings too with it. I mean, for him to get an exchange to talk to high-level people at the SEC, he had to be in the inside. This guy did not happen by accident. This isn't a rogue guy. This is a made person that has now been caught. And American citizens, the younger generation, they're left holding the empty bag.
Well, not just that, but like, look at his, like I mentioned his parents early on, both Stanford professors, both were in that space with him as well. And the mother, high donations to the Democratic Party, obviously was at one point, I guess, Hillary Clinton's lawyer. He has that Clinton. He's been seen with Clinton many times, Sam was. So you have these breadcrumbs that are leading you to, okay, what's happening here? Who got funded by this? And what I want to know is, like, Ukrainian officials, can they scream that they got locked out of their accounts? Or did they already pull their money out, right? Like, I want to know, like, what's going on? Can there be some sort of an accounting? But this is the tricky thing about crypto, right? It's hard to get that kind of accounting. That's why people use it. It's unregulated. You can transfer assets, transfer coin, and it can go to different names, and it can be really hard to trace. That's why it's used. But I wanted to bring this up, Pasta. I don't have the article in front of me, but there was a whistleblower trying to come forward that talked about the Epstein-like human sexual trafficking. And he said, I am being targeted and I may be killed. And then he was found dead. And he was
in the Caribbean. Yes.
Yeah, I actually tweeted about it. I think, it got a lot of attention.
That guy was connected to Sam, to FTX.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, there's talk of that. By the way, let's just bring this up just to provide a little context to what we're talking about when it comes to the Democratic Party. He was also, and he's talking about SBF. I hate using his name. I hate using the initials. Anybody's got two last names, keep an eye on them. Yeah. He was also just one handful of donors who spent $10 million plus backing Joe Biden in 2020. And in last year, he's hired a network of political operatives that spend tens of millions more shaping Democratic House primaries. It was a shocking wave of spending that looked like it could remake the Democratic bench in Washington, candidate by candidate. Looking ahead to the 2024 election, he said he could spend anywhere from $100 million to $1 billion, and he was backing heavily backing Democratic Party members.
But it's all an illusion, right? Like it was money that really wasn't there, that he said is there. And so he got people to give him money based on money that he didn't have. It is really interesting. And he was able to do it based on trust. And this is what's going on in the spaces right now. And this is, I think, really indicative of what you and Fee have been talking about voters' lack of trust.
I added it.
Moral system. It's all kind of connected. If everybody's getting bought and paid, how do you trust anything? Especially like what Fee mentioned, is there going to be an investigation, right?
Yeah, I agree. This is the quagmire of the whole situation. There's another quagmire of this whole situation that I want to bring to light, and then we'll go into the Caribbean person. But when I got this up right here, now it is coming from the Gateway Pundit, so I know a lot of people are going, "Oh, it's the Gateway Pundit. These guys just hate Democrats and blah 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 blah." But they show a lot of the receipts there, whatnot. I don't think it's 100% verifiable, but tens of billions of US dollars were transferred to Ukraine. And then using FTX cryptocurrencies, the funds were laundered back to Democrats in the US. Now, I think there's a lot of cause for speculation because they were looking at some of these things about, is this true or not? But what we do know is this. And I want to show this here really quickly. Sam Bankman-Fried, prolific Democratic donor and ex-CEO of now bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX, funded the campaigns of members of Congress overseeing the Commodity Futures Trading Commissions, the CFTC, and one of the bodies tasked with regulating the crypto industry and subject of the Bankman-Fried's aggressive lobbying. I want to make sure I got the right part. Hold on. I think I'm in the wrong.
You know what? And I am sorry. I keep referring to him as Sam Fried. I just don't do the whole name, Sam Bankman-Fried or whatever.
Yeah.
But Fried is how he's kind of known at the,
Yes. Here it is. The Ukrainian government has gathered more than 42 million in cryptocurrency donations since Saturday, plus digital artwork, including a limited edition worth roughly of 200,000, according to a blockchain analytics. The challenge is how the country cashes in on these assets to fund its war needs. Amid the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the CEO of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, has come forward to help a crypto donation project. He humbly announced that FTX will be supporting the Ukrainian Ministry of Finance and other communities in collecting crypto donations for the country. The Ukrainian government has received over 60 million in crypto donations from all over the world. FTX's CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, highlighted that the war in Ukraine has been dragging on. The country is in full need of humanitarian help and access to global financial infrastructure. He also called attention to sanctions and crypto during these kinds of situations. He indicated that the crypto exchanges should enforce sanctions announced by the government seriously. So at the same time,
Fox in the henhouse, right?
Exactly. He's pushing for regulations. He's always pushed for regulations on the other guys so he can do what he wants. And we don't know the exact ties between Ukraine, the Democratic establishment, or any type of these type of characters at home. I mean, I certainly don't want to leave out Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, who have been pro-Ukraine war too as well. But we have a direct line of FTX aiding in cryptocurrency exchanges with the country Ukraine. It's very fishy, Tara. I don't know what you have to say about that, but where there's smoke, there's fire there.
Well, what they're looking at right now is what you just mentioned is the quick fire exchanges and cash outs that happened right before he went under. The big one being to getting a whole bunch of coin over to his girlfriend's company, Alameda, and then of course some other ones. But you're also looking at the fact that he used his whole, that whole emotional tug of the blue and yellow flag of Ukraine, right, to get money from other crypto creators, right? So he got a whole bunch of coin. And then who ended up with that, right? And then why, where's that crypto coin in the races? He donated in the midterms. FEC, is a good place to start. So let's look at the Federal Elections Committee and who reported the crypto coin and how much and where it is now. I'm really curious to know. And another good resource for your audience is opensecrets.org. It tells you who's donating to who. And so if you don't know that website, it's a really good website.
Yeah.
I think we have to point out again that his parents, both fam, I don't know if you know this, professors at Stanford, he was a quantitative ease and from MIT. I don't know if you remember the movie, ladies and gentlemen, The Big Short, when I forgot his name, he goes, "This is my quant, look at him." And he goes, "He's Chinese, of course he's right, because he's figuring numbers and he's crunching the numbers and stuff." This was this guy's job. He was a quant coming right out of MIT. His professors, there's links to everything that's going on. It's just a crazy situation. Also, we have this here, fam. If you want to read your tweet really quickly, and then we can give Tara a little chance to comment on this. This is something I was looking into as well, because there's so many tentacles to this whole situation. There's still more to come on the FTX situation, ladies and gentlemen. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Fam, what do we got here?
So this was Nikolai Arkady, the Michigan co-founder of the decentralized finance DeFi stablecoin issuer maker DAO. And he was found dead on a beach in Condado, Puerto Rico. This was recent. And his last tweet, the reason why this is weird is because he was found, quote unquote, drowned. And his last tweet, and several tweets before that, accused the CIA and Mossad of running a sex trafficking ring. So this is his last tweet, and he said, CIA, Mossad, and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking, entrapment, blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who was a spy. They will torture me to death. So because this is a thread and there's more, before I go into something else, there was a friend I had that was in Puerto Rico looking into cryptocurrencies. I'm not going to name that person, but they told me they saw some really dark shit in Puerto Rico relating to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. This was maybe 4 years ago, this was a few years ago when I was in LA, and they were saying it's there's these people are really psychopathic, and there's this group of people that just want to make money and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not surprised that this guy was in Puerto Rico doing this stuff. But there were several other tweets where he was saying he's going to end up dead. And then he did end up dead. That's the weird part.
He drowned himself, ma'am. He drowned himself.
Yeah.
No,
Well, people were saying there were drugs involved, but the police report never indicated anything about drugs. So,
you know what's interesting about that story too is bringing up again the trafficking, and then of course look at where Sam's house is in the Bahamas, and of course we all know that there's Epstein
Yeah.
Island and whatnot. But one thing that's really interesting to me is the connection to the Clintons, and again that leads you back to the Epstein thing, and so it comes back in a circle. But remember that with crypto, because you can make it so that it's difficult to trace, right? That's why people use it sometimes for nefarious reasons, like sexual human trafficking, like drugs, and black market weapons. So the fact that he sent so much aid to Ukraine, and that Intel, or in Europe, how they talked about how there's illegal weapons on the dark web. And I'm just wondering if the payments were made through crypto and through FTX. So one of the things that needs to be investigated was this coinage used for, weapons in Ukraine and black market, and did they resell them and then get money that way? So again, it's all coming back to the sort of money laundering. And the problem, and I heard this in this space with financial crimes in the United States, is there's no jail time usually. It's regulations violations. So it's like money fines. There's no real consequences, like there wasn't in 2008 for many people, other than a couple of top people that went to jail. But other than that, really, there's not a lot of white collar crime that gets really convicted, right? Maybe insider trading, and that's it. Yeah. So, but in other countries, you go to prison. So I'm wondering if other countries are going to jump in here, because he did have this international reach. And a lot of people got locked out of their accounts and lost millions, not like a million, millions.
Millions. Yeah. But I don't want to speculate here though, Tara, but I want your opinion too as well, because we understood that SBF, Sam Reade, lived in his incubator in like Bahamas with all his employees. And there's a little funky, nucky, monkey business going around over there too as well. So that's why the whole Epstein thing, and we see this ties to Ukraine, it makes me think that there was some creepy little funky stuff going on around over there, because there have been some ex-employees who've said some stuff that it was a little weird what was going on in the Bahama house. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, because, and I don't know if you're hearing it in Russia about the human sexual trafficking of Ukrainian women. And I know there's been talk about that, and not to Russians. Okay. Like there was the false accusations against Russians, which now is coming to light as false. Patel, I think, made up a bunch of really heinous things. You did a piece on it. It was really good, Fee. So I won't, go into that, but like, there is, and I don't know if you've noticed in the United States, all of a sudden there's these, featuring Ukrainian women to date and all this other kind of thing. It's human sexual trafficking is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fam,
so there's definitely an element to
a little
that.
bit by any chance, or do you want to go into
sorry?
Do you want to go through the thread of this a little bit, or is that just pretty much?
No, I mean, it just, if you want to I can quickly just point out a couple things.
Let's just kind of briefly point out some stuff, and let's see what you got. And then we have the last part of this whole situation, because it gets better, right? Like we got to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried's brother and what his job was. We got to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried and his aunt and what her job is. It gets better, ladies and gentlemen. So please stick with us. Fam, tell us what we got here in this thread. We'll go through it really quickly.
Right. So he was found drowned on the beach, which was right by a hospital, which is, again, that's just weird that he was found drowned by a beach right by a hospital. And that he was pulled by the currents. Apparently that beach is known for having currents, but he had several tweets where he was talking about they and blackmail, and that his girlfriend was a spy, and people who knew him were saying that he wasn't that popular, but he also died like right after a major event too. So this is what he said. After this, had people in this industry confide, they got baited into shit, and now they are being extorted. Nobody cares about your mistake. Let it kill your ego. It's good for you. And if it's actually some criminal shit, just pretend to be stupid, drag your feet, don't help them. So he's saying don't allow yourself to be blackmailed. And then this one said 3 possible futures for me. 1, suicided by the CIA. 2, CIA brain damage, slave asset. 3, worst nightmare of people who fucked with me up until now. I am sure these are the only options. So yeah, so this is weird. He said, he also talked about, imagine how evil someone has to be to transform me from an anti-state crypto anarchist of 12 years to someone who prays to God to guide the top of the food chain, national security feds, and their ancient karmic laws of banking handlers to come demolish this Illuminati role play circle jerk. So there's 2 possibilities. This guy is crazy, or he literally is, something happened to him. And this is just the article in Spanish where they were talking about what happened to him. And that was some first media that reported on it. So yeah, very.
Yeah, there's been a lot of strange things happening in the crypto space for sure.
Well, it's a space too that, I mean, any way you look at it, that the crypto space is something, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, right? Like, we didn't get a chance to talk about this morning on the morning show. Nayib Bukele, people like Max Kaiser, Bitcoin purist, all right? They don't believe in the other coins. They believe they're decentralized. That's not the point of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is decentralized. These other coins are centralized, and stuff like this could happen. And that's what they're talking about, is that Bitcoin has the security measures in place for what happened with FTX to not happen. And that's the issue. And that's why they talk about all these other shit coins and why they're invested in Bitcoin and why they're happy, because there's a move, a lot of people think, by the World Economic Forum to get people into these digital coins, these CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, because then they can attach behavior stuff. They talk about the social credit scores, you know what I'm saying, carbon footprints that they're looking to get for the individual, that they can
literally control what you eat, drink, how much money you get. They can turn off your bank account.
Absolutely.
Like, some of my tweets would definitely get, like, this morning, right? Twice my Twitter got hit by some German troll farm trying to shut me down. And Twitter said, no, she's not violating any laws. And I wasn't. You saw my tweets. They're not, they're just, I asked for an investigation. I think that's a reasonable thing to do as a citizen, to ask for an investigation into the leaders of our country. Apparently Germany doesn't think so. But my point is that what they want? They want to control even what you say, what you think, how you think it, and social, through crypto. So that's why I kind of have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, I would love not to be part of the centralized banking system, because, they're shutting off, like Wyatt Reade's. They just shut off his PayPal, his Venmo. They deplatform you, whatever. But I don't know, with crypto, then you have the whole other way, that social thing, so
well,
I don't know.
It all depends. And this is something that Max Kaiser talks about all the time, being a Bitcoin purist, is that they don't have the ability to do that. They don't have the ability to control it. Now, the whales can make it go in and out. Look what's going on right now with the situation, how they're advertising crypto. You got to get your money out of crypto. It's a Ponzi scheme. Look, we told you, get your money out. Bitcoin and Ethereum is now tanking. They're trying to tank the markets. Even Kevin O'Leary, he came forth and said, I'm not going to be involved in crypto anymore. I got robbed, which I want to see his finances, because I want to know how much money that he took as a spokesperson of their coin that he turned to fiat and he put in his bank. I want to know, because there's a lot of reasons for him to invest. And that guy's not a stupid investor.
And then to bail. Yeah.
Yes. He's not a stupid
dealing
investor.
with a little bit of a cushion. Yeah.
Yes. So the O'Leary.
And Pasta too, it's the timing. That's what keeps nagging at me.
Yeah.
Literally, this was the 2 days after the midterms. He filed for bankruptcy. I think it was 2 days after, right, Fee? Come on, there's some connection. I just can't see it yet, but there is.
Well, let's talk about the connections to the WEF. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it gets better. WEF is also supporting FTX and the SBFs. Not so much. We talked about the connection to the WEF, but Aunt Linda Fried, scientist in epidemiology, is strongly connected to the WEF. SBS brother Gabriel Bankman-Fried is the founder of Guardian Against Pandemics. You can't make these things up.
Right.
So brother, when they talk about all this philanthropy work, brother was a COVIDiot, whatever, pushing for lockdowns, pushing for the next pandemic.
The vaccine.
All the crap they said, right? This is This is what this connected to. This guy did not happen by chance. Every bit of it. Money from the mom going to let's get the vote out. Money to aunt being strong in the West. Money to brother, okay, who's pushing lockdowns and all this other stuff. Hillary Clinton's ex-lawyer, they're professors at Stanford. This is not by accident, ladies and gentlemen. This is on purpose, and now the next part of their plan is going to come to fruition when they strap down and regulate the shit out of cryptos. And who's that going to affect? It ain't going to affect the old investors like my mom and people who have all this money in the market. It's people my age and younger. It's people Fee's age. That's who they're going to put the kibosh on. They're going to protect the old money, protect the bankers, and let's tip our hat off to Sam Bankman-Fried, because you know what he did, Tara, fam? He showed the American people what a real bank actually operates like. That's what he did.
Yeah. And you know, you really have, like, if you're listening to those spaces and listening to some of those other crypto company CEOs and the other people kind of, you know, accepting what's going on, they're getting all this breaking news. It's very volatile right now. Some of them are losing millions. They're shocked. And now it's like, and now they're starting to realize, oh, okay, we were just robbed. This was like a robbery. But look at the same players are always involved. Clintons, right? It always, I said, I swear to God,
you conspiracy theorists.
All roads lead back to Bill Clinton and the Democrats and Joe Biden. And then you have Ukraine, which is like their, I guess I picture it like their laundry machine.
Yeah.
Right? Where they're just throwing the money.
You've seen the meme, right? With Zelensky and the washing machines, and there's money.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is what Ukraine is. It's a gigantic money laundering operation. Why does Zelensky have billions, multi-million-dollar houses?
Right.
Because look at that coke habit. He's got it's cokey smurf over here.
Well, and
coke, he's sniffing, he's snorting. Look at him, he's touching his nose. You need a lot of money, cocaine, to get cocaine to Ukraine. The good cocaine.
I don't know. I don't know if pasta, but like one thing that is true is they've caught Ukrainian officials with purchasing Swiss property, American property, with cash, right? They've stopped them at the border. I think one of the top officials that worked next to Zelensky, the wife, had 2 suitcases full of American dollars with her as she crossed the border. And no one's talking about this, but they're literally just taking taxpayer money and just like, okay, we're getting it. But you know that the Biden family is getting a cut. And today, like on one of the spaces, or I think it's later today or tomorrow, they're actually interviewing Hunter Biden. And I can't, you guys go to that space. I'll give you the link. I can't listen to it. Just is too upsetting to me. But yeah, I mean, they're all in collusion. Now this is my question, I guess, for everyone. Do you want to see regulation of crypto? Or do you see it as what you were describing, Pasa, as a way to just simply monitor people more?
No, I don't want them regulating anything. They showed they can't even regulate their own coin. It's terrible. They keep printing it up. It's not backed by anything, at least when it comes to Bitcoin, decentralized. There's rules. It's a digital asset that you know how much is going to be released, how much is going to be destroyed. They understand this. The rules are plain and simple. I don't want them regulating it, because when they regulate crypto, they have one idea in mind, one goal, and that's to make sure that their US dollar is the dominant dollar and currency throughout the world.
Right.
And that's what they want. So I don't want any regulations from them. I want it to be a digital asset and let them play by their own rules and make sure that there's just transparency involved. But
sadly, El Salvador lost several $100 million to FTX. So here I thought El Salvador was being cutting edge and like doing all this. And I think the West had its hand dipping into their, currency through Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah.
And with sanctions, Bitcoin is a way to go around that, because crypto in general, I was actually able to figure out how to switch Bitcoin into rubles. And that, like, so if you come here and you're an American and you don't have money and all your money is in American dollars, but you can buy some crypto, whether it's Ethereum or Bitcoin, those are the only two I would say are remotely reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a website you can do it, and Wyatt's actually the one that did it. And if you have a Russian bank account, which I do, so what I did was, and I tested it, I converted my Bitcoin into rubles, and I was able to quickly receive those funds immediately in my bank. Now, the issue for me is the other way around, is being able to buy Bitcoin with rubles and then turn that Bitcoin into perhaps dollars.
Yeah.
That's what,
Okay.
I haven't tried it yet.
Does Russia not allow Bitcoin? My understanding is they're not allowing cryptocurrency at this moment. Is that true or not?
I think I don't think they do, but at the same time, I know that they were going to, that they were on their way to doing it. So that's why I haven't tried it. If the car,
they're probably watching carefully. Yeah. Well, he came to join us. He's wanting to know about Bitcoin, and he wants to know what life is like in Moscow. Fee. Yeah.
We'll bring him here.
Bukele, the president of El Salvador. FTX is the opposite of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's protocol was created precisely to prevent Ponzi schemes, bank runs, Enron's, WorldCom's, Bernie Madoff's, and Sam Bankman-Fried's bailout and wealth reassignments. And he also says, too, as well, some understand it, some not yet. We're still early. And
so he's like a hardcore Bitcoiner.
He's a hardcore Bitcoiner. He doesn't invest in shit coins or any other coins. I don't know how much he had on the FTX exchange. I'm sure it's not all of it. I don't even know if he used the FTX exchange and what's going on, but I would like to find a little bit more information. I don't know if he's holding all of El Salvador's cryptocurrency in a cold wallet. I don't know.
Like I just saw that they lost some money, so maybe you could look into that. So
I think they're talking about the fact that the price of it tanked. Right,
Yeah.
because of what's going on. So they're talking about all the investment that they made because the IMF has been very, very critical in sicking the World Bank and the CIA and the intelligence apparatus on Bukele. And we've said this before because he's like his own thing. He's not like the other leaders where he's been like anti-communist. He's cut social programs. But he's taken on the IMF and told them, go screw yourself. We're going to go invest in Bitcoin and you can't stop us, including creating Bitcoin Beach, mining Bitcoin coming from the geothermal volcanoes. So it's a very interesting situation with him there. And I'm going to look more into it as this goes along. Tara.
I'm really just curious. One other thing, Craig. I'm just really curious about the Democrats and getting all their funds and everything. Where did that go? So did they lose that money or not? And I guess, have you read anything since then to say, oh, they lost like the 400 million that was, invested, or did somebody pocket it? Have you read anything further on that?
I haven't read anything on that yet. I'm still kind of waiting. I'm assuming, and this is something that we assumed, and we, obviously we're going to find out who got their money out first, who made, I'm saying? I'm assuming that they understood this was coming. Like I said, this guy didn't happen by chance. So it seemed like a great way to launder money from the people into the politicians' pockets once again, and that whole, once again, FTX going over there to do exchanges with Ukraine. We need more transparency on that. People are still digging. They haven't found all the right answers. We do know that he was involved. We don't know to what extent. And like you said, and you pointed this out earlier, a lot of people use cryptos because sometimes it's harder to track, and necessarily depending where you offload it into fiat, that country might not have KYC, know your customer. So we might not get all the details on where this is going. And I think that's why this was the perfect Ponzi scheme for a lot of people in power, because they can hide the money they received.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And Fee, I've been watching your show. I've been watching RT, watching your anchoring on RT and your correspondent work. And it's phenomenal. I always learn. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. And thank you for coming on. You know a lot about this. I actually haven't been on top of this one. There's just so much going on, like foreign policy wise. But this is really big. I think
it's
this could definitely tie things together. Yes.
And it's like everyone's been screaming about this, about Ukraine being a, basically a money laundering scheme. And it's now we finally are getting the receipts, like at least partially the receipts. We don't have all of them. A lot of them are with the Pentagon, right?
Yeah.
But, weapons manufacturers, but and probably in Hunter Biden's Cash App. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's
Yeah.
my turn.
Tara, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can get more information, what you got coming up. Let all the beautiful people out there in YouTube, Rumble, and Rockfin land know where they can find more Tara Reade.
Actually, yes, you can find me on Politics of Survival. So if you look up tarareadpodcast.com, I'm on Indie News Network, and it's our year anniversary. So thank you, Indie and Reef, who
Congratulations.
do help lift me up, because they kind of came along when RT got censored and whatnot. And I hope, Fee, that RT comes back in the space of Twitter, and that Elon maybe lifts that ban and, takes off those Russia-affiliated titles under people's names and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get there. But yeah, so you can find me there, tarareadpodcast.com. There's my link tree right there, and at Reade Alexandra on Twitter. So come find me. And I just had a great show, and I have another one coming up Thursday. So we'll see you then.
Look, this is from Indie Media over there. Check that out. See, Indie Media, we love them, the work they're doing over there. They gave us a little words as top streamers. I want to thank Indie Media. I want to thank Reef and all those other guys for doing that and providing an opportunity in the space for us to get the work out and to collaborate together and just lift each other up, Tara. I'm so glad you joined us today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Spasiba and dobra din, Fee.
Do svidania. Do svidania.
Tara Reade, everybody. Fam, let's get to some super rays real quick and we'll get out of here. We also have actually a few Rumble rants. We've been getting some of these Rumble rants. It's so awesome, guys. And thank you for all those who joined over there today, guys. We want to start moving you over to that direction if we can, so we can help out. We can make a few extra bucks more for us in the studios so we can keep the lights on. I agree with Pasta. I don't care if pulling out of Kherson was the correct military strategy. I am emotional because the same Bucha thing is happening now in Kherson now. Fam, your thoughts about that? And sorry, don't read or show my Rumble rant on YouTube.
Oh,
okay,
too late.
My bad. I just read the second part. Let me get that out. Now, I agree. I agree. It's
fine.
It
mean,
sucks.
people
By
have
the way,
different.
but let's talk about that, fam, because I think a lot of people are still emotional about that and stuff because it does suck. Whether it be a military decision or not, these people, a lot of people that feel that they're left for dead. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did everything they can in terms of telling people to leave, and facilitating the evacuations. If people wanted to stay, that's their choice, right? Like they wanted to stay. Now, do I think it's wrong? Yeah, I mean, I think the Russian Federation should be a little bit more aggressive than they've been, and I think a lot of Russians want that. At the same time, the most minimum aggression from them is really it's just vilified. You've seen how it's vilified by the West, so it's kind of like a fine line to walk on. I do think like the people that support them being upset shows that they need to do something more, because it is, even though it's a strategic military decision, it did make them look a certain way politically, and I think it also has consequences. As always, everything has consequences, but that, of course, people are going to be upset about. We'll see.
I just think, let me interrupt real quick, fam, because I have to just say something, because listen, they might have told people to get on out, but there's got to be some people who couldn't get out. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's got to be people who couldn't leave that then want to leave their whole life behind and whatnot. So I feel like sometimes like those people that can't just pick up and leave, that those people were lost for dead. No,
we don't know though. We're just speculating.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
This is from the Rockfin guys. Arthur Carter tip. Thank you so much. Hello, Convo Couch. We love you, Arthur Carter. We love you. And of course, AREM is in there. Convo Couch rocks. Champions of independent journalism. Thank you so much. Stay strong. Thank you, AREM. Guys, this is your chance. If you haven't gone over to Rockfin and subscribed for a membership, please do so. That's the best way you can help us out. We love these Super Rays, but use your $10. Get the membership for $9.99. Remember, we're going to start watching premium stuff over on Rockfin. That's going to help us out. And there's a lot of people who are already members anyways. We have a decent amount of members. So if you haven't got your membership, get it now. Fam, what was that last comment I just had up? That was a Super Ray that you took off.
Oh.
Okay, there it is.
This one?
Okay, Thomas Hutchinson, great stuff. Fee, Pasta, and Tara. Keep up the good work. Fam,
Thank
you
you,
can put
Thomas.
other stuff up now if you want. That's all the Super Rays, and that's all the Rumble rants. We had 82 people hanging out on Rockfin, and that's awesome. But believe it or not, this is the great news today, guys. We had, I think, almost 145 people watching. We're at 143 watching now on Rumble, guys. That is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
So we're really growing that number. You can always watch the show there for free, but do us a favor if you can. If you got a few extra bucks. Oh, we have another one. Great show today. Very informative. And that was from Blank Say. This is DC. DC, you son of a beeswax. We love you. DC showing some love. DC, part of the Socialist Libertarian group, fan of the Libertarian Party. There's people like us ready to rock and roll over there, fam. Are you ready to be a libertarian, especially since Scott Horton threw some love out today to us?
No, but I will work with them. So, by the way, it was funny. At our RT has everybody from Republican to communist, right? And so it was a tag team of the 3 commies putting out that story that you saw on the stuff, because I found the CNN thing, and
Yeah.
Don hadn't seen it, so I was like, Don, you should add this, and the editor was like, yeah, we'll add it, and it's like Don was like, well, it's something with there's 3 commies and they're working like, but we work with like people who are on the right, conservative, like there's everything. It's really interesting.
And you should. That's the way it should go. Everybody works. It's called being an adult and talking to everybody who thinks differently than you.
Yeah, but no AOC types, okay?
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those.
Well, guys, right there, you can
None of
see all the information. The Combo Couch, givesendgo.com/the Combo Couch Brazil still going on. Fam, our good friend Addy Ads is out in Brazil. Flew there late last night. Should be there today. Addy Ads is out there in Brasilia checking out the protest.
Oh, Brasilia.
We spoke for like an hour about what's going on, and hopefully we can hook him up with some MST people that he can talk to as well. If you don't know who Addy Ads is, he covered the Ghislaine Maxwell trial better than anybody. He went there, actually showed up with a microphone. He's a libertarian cat working for a conservative outlet called the National Wire, I believe it is. But he's going to go out there, and he's very open-minded, and he asked me everything about the election, the people, whatnot. I told him what I knew. There's only, you can only learn so much when you go to a country, right? And then, well, supposedly, whatever, that was for somebody else, not us, but whatever the case may be, it's when you go to these countries, it's the people you meet. You have to continue the education. I have a WhatsApp bunch of chats here. Fam can understand them. They're speaking in Spanish. I gotta translate. But people who are in Nicaragua, people who are in Honduras, people who are in Peru, people who are in Colombia, people who are in Brazil. We stay in constant contact with them so we continue to learn and understand and evaluate what's going on. The educationally starts when you go to that place. It never stops. So that's something that I really appreciate, the WhatsApp family and those social justice warriors in those other countries. I love you and thank you so much. Anything else, fam? You must be tired.
Yeah, I have to go to work early today.
All right.
So I will see you guys.
Well, fam, go to work early tomorrow today, and let me know if you need me. If RT wants to get on an election integrity activist, I'm here, and I'm ready to talk some stuff. So that's it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, you can go to thegivesendgo.com, the Combo Couch Brazil. Go to the Rockfin. Become a member. Subscribe to the Combo Couch. Watch our premium content. But if you can't afford to do that, we will have it up on the other channels for free. Guys, thank you so much. That's it for today. I am Austin Jardula.
I am Fiorella.
And we'll see you. Tomorrow, fam. I'm so sorry. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on Jason Burmis' show after the morning show. We're going to have the morning show as well. It's T-Lab Tuesday. So T-Lab will be there, the Last American Vagabond. I'm going to roll into Jason Burmis. I'm going to also, I have an election show I'm going to be doing. I'm going to have on 3 activists from 3 different states. Georgia, Garland Favorito will be there. Give us all the insight of what's going on in Georgia. In Arizona, in Nevada, my good friend Ellen Swenson from the Election Integrity Project. She does all the data analysis. She's got some great stuff to share. And then hopefully I'll be talking to Phil Evans, if he can fit on in, to talk about what's going on in Arizona, guys. We have the math beyond the math, stuff you're not going to see in the mainstream media. So if you want to get an idea of what's really going on, join us.
It's only going to be Rumble, right? Or
it's going to be
Rockfin
Rumble and Rockfin only. It's not going to be on YouTube.
Can't talk about
So
that on
I
YouTube.
might start at YouTube just to get people over, but it's going to be Rumble and
Yeah.
Rockman only, guys. So if you want to know the crux of what's going on, I still stand firm in saying it's the whole system that needs to be blown up. It's so messed up. But we'll
Absolutely.
give you the intricacies of what's going on. That's it for today, fam. Oh, I might be on Jimmy
Jesus
Dore today.
Christ.
I might be on Jimmy
Oh,
Dore.
okay.
So that might happen too as well. I think that's going to
Okay.
happen around 4:30. I'll probably talk FTX stuff with Jimmy Dore today. So look for me over there. I might be on Jimmy Dore as well. So I feel like you're
Okay, well,
getting around.
you're hoeing yourself out. He's getting around. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Good night. Love you all. See ya in the AM on Artezol. I'll be anchoring. Good
Where?
night.
On where?
Artezol.